Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so tomorrow we're going to be getting the release of Clavell and Quaquaval. I'm going to make this video a little bit short when doing this overview, but I do want to go ahead and of course take a look at their kit and see how good they are and whatnot. My thoughts on the sync pair, if I'm remembering their kit a lot of the time, is they're pretty strong. At least they can be pretty strong, but there's like two things that are really dampening them. For one, the buddy move effect. For two, sprint field does not help him. Not really that much, but I still do think he can be strong. I just don't think he is really worth picking up a lot, considering water types. Like, of course you're going to be able to make him work. He's going to do things. He's going to be strong in his own regard. He's got all that good stuff. But if you're just wanting efficient water types, there are so many damn options. Signature Chris for a support. Champion Calum as a support, but yeah, that one's iffy, but still, right? Like, he does exist. Signature Mina as a support. For a damage dealer. Signature Lysander. You've Dojo Glory for a nuker. Champion Serena for a nuker. Dahlia. I mean, even, like, for some stages, Archie and, Nessa, they'll do for a lot of stages and whatnot, right? So if you're just looking for an efficient water damage dealer, attacker, character, whatever, Clavell's not really something you should be going to. There's a lot of other better, far more worth pulling for characters, in my opinion. Especially in a month where you can easily save gems. Definitely more worth it to go for Yakumo for sure. Anyway, whatever. Let's go ahead and take a look at his kit anyway. Just, for why not, right? So, he's a sprint character with a Field EX roll, Water type, weak to flying, of course. Looking at his offensive stats, a level 150, or sorry, just stats, not just offensive, but stats a level 150. He's got 500 attack, 186 defense, 184 special defense, 365 speed, and 682 health. Not bad stats all around. Could be worse, definitely. With the 6-X investment, of course, those go up by about plus 40, and then with HP going up to about, by plus 100. These are all really good stats. 225-ish in both defenses, nearly 550 attack, over 400 speed. These are good stats, and with the EX roll investment, the defenses get a little bit of a buff, and the HP and speed get a little bit of a buff too. He's got good stats for sure. Like, this guy is going to be quite strong with what he's got. So this is good for sure. He's got good investment in all of his different stats, and I do like to see that, definitely. Looking at his moves, he's got Aqua Step, his main damaging move, which is 190 minimum power, 4 gauge accurate, guaranteed accuracy, 100% accuracy, evasion, right? Targets an opponent, and it raises his speed by 1. This is raised by 2 stat ranks due to a passive he has, which raises his stats by double the stat ranks whenever his move is successful, or his Pokemon's move is successful, right? So he does get plus 2 speed when using his Aqua Step move instead of plus 6, which is good for 2 reasons, but we'll go into those in a little bit. He's got X Evasion, raises his evasion by 2. This is not a move from his Pokemon, this is a move from the trainer, so this is not affected by the double buff, which would be nice if it was, but oh well. Liquidation Dance. It's a 200 minimum power move, 240 maximum power, 2 gauge move, targets all enemies, has no limited uses. It's activated when the user's speed is raised, and deactivated whenever the speed is not raised. The move never misses. The more his speed is raised, the greater the power of the attack. Lowers enemy defenses by 2. The power is not lowered if there are multiple targets, and removes all speed increases from the user. That's the big thing about this move, is that it removes your speed buffs. So not only do you miss out on the ability to spam this buddy move, you're also missing out on the speed buffs, right? Which could be used for like multiplier activation, or it could be used for gauge management, whatever, right? So using this buddy move does have that downside, but of course it does have good effects, right? Like, it's got good strength, it's got defensive debuffs. It's got AoE non-split damage. It's a good buddy move, right? It's just that you're going to be either relying on like a character to buff your speed consistently, which is not many. I mean, there's quite a few with Pep Rally, but still mostly, right? And also he can buff his speed himself, which is the big goal, right? Like, you can buff your speed yourself, and you can get those buffs and have a high-powered attack. That's kind of the intent with this character. And I mean, it can work, but of course this means you are using the buddy move pretty much every 3 or 4 turns, which that in itself is kind of an issue if you want to think about it that way. But again, it can be a very strong buddy move, and it is infinitely repeatable effectively. So there's that thing to consider. And then he's got himself the trainer move, Something to Treasure, which reduces sync countdown by 1, raises attack by 4, and crit by 3, so full self-sufficiency pretty much in offensive buffing, and a little bit of sync countdown. That's the status quo of a sprint character. Combine that with Head Start 2 as a passive, and he does have -3 sync countdown. That full cycle of sync acceleration is good. That could be good for a little bit of sync ramping, and could be good with whatever partners you may want to run him with. Sync acceleration is nice to have, especially when we're finally getting some water sprint characters in the form of Damage Challenge Barry, which free option, not really a super viable one, and like Sigma Suit Chris's EX roll and the like. Sigma Suit Mina's as well. So hey, sprint character for water does help in that regard. And then we do have that double stat raising passive, which again helps Aqua Step with double buffing. That's nice. And then the trainer move, Allied Field Gauge Acceleration 9, applying Gauge Acceleration when the user's trainer uses a move. So the trainer move or X Evasion will be applying Gauge Acceleration. That's mostly what they've relegated the X Evasion for. The evasion buffs are good for the Gauntlet, but outside of that, and like multiplier activation, which I don't think he has any related to evasion anyway, you're going to be utilizing that just for Gauge Acceleration, again, outside of the Gauntlet and any potential multipliers. But again, I don't think he has any. So, yeah. I mean, the passives are fine. They don't really apply any multipliers, and this is why I really don't think he's definitely not worth pulling for at 1 out of 5, because he doesn't have any multipliers to increase his damage. He's a character that wants to do damage, like, literally the buddy move is just him trying to do damage, and that's not really something he's able to do very well. I mean, the debuffing utility is nice for physical attackers, and it being AoE nonetheless, or on top of that, rather, is a better word to use, or phrase, I guess. But he just doesn't have any direct multipliers to enhance damage other than those defensive debuffs, which he could just utilize a support to do, or a disrupting, or another character like Doja Gloria, right? Anyway, whatever. So, looking at the sync move he's got, the more that his attack is raised, the greater power of this attack. One problem with this is, which you can bring a support to fix this, so it's not that big of a deal, but he only raises his attack by 4, so if you bring in a support that does not buff his attack by whatever means, or for whatever reason, you would have to kind of go out of your way to do that, unless you want to run him like Signature Chris or Mina, which is actually viable and makes sense. This means he will not actually have his full multipliers activated, so there's another little thing that kind of just dampens him down a little bit. But of course he does have a good offensive stat naturally, and this does have most activation for his nuke, so it's not the worst thing in the world. It could be worse, frankly. And then again, Field EX roll investment, he does set rain. I will just go ahead and say this is his only method of setting rain. Him having the Field EX roll does nothing. Frankly, I don't know why he's got the EX roll, because one instance of rain is not enough for the most part. Like, sure, Stadium Battle or something, but Legendary Arena stage is probably going to want more rain, especially against freaking Moltres, or something like that. You're going to want rain for pretty much any longer battle, right, where you're planning to use him as a main damage dealer. So why has he only got one set of rain? I don't know. You could have just given him a different EX roll, be it Strike, Tech, or something like that, or even Support. Probably all would have been a little bit better than having Field, which is mostly probably just given to him for the sake of being Sprint Field. At least Greta and Mixed Leaf, well, not Mixed Leaf, Mixed Leaf's not Sprint Field, but at least Greta and Anniversary Lily actually set their other zone more than once, so that's something. Anyway, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, so there you go. Not a bad base kit for sure, but he is definitely lacking in firepower, and his utility's like not that crazy at all for a 1 out of 5 character. Like, there's no real enhancement for allies other than defensive debuffs. There's nothing that makes him super gimmick checking, like piercing blows or anything like that. So I mean, I just don't see a lot of major value in it 1 out of 5, but of course with dupes that can definitely change, and I mean he does obviously get better with dupes, as do most characters. He gets pretty much nothing at 1 out of 5 besides flame proof, I guess. 2 out of 5 he gets quick cure, sync regen, natural remedy, racing rain, refreshing rain, raging rain 2, X evasion NPR, super sinker, aqua step gauge refresh, opponent fails physical boost 2, and trainer move NPR. Okay, so obviously natural remedy, quick cure, and I guess flame proof in the same regard. Just, status condition and status change immunity, nice abilities, could help with a little bit of RNG. Raging Rain is his only DPS multiplier here at 2 out of 5, so if of course you do want to increase his already pretty solid base power moves, again about 200 power on Aqua Step and Liquidation Dance at 2 out of 5, he's going to be getting a 20% multiplier. It's something. It could be worse. Honestly, it could just straight up be worse. So him having that 20% multiplier, I mean, it's nice. Is it really a super duper valuable node, like probably at 2 out of 5, sure, but in general, no, not really. But I mean, it's definitely helpful to have for sure, especially because you're definitely going to want to run him with another rain character other than himself, considering he can only set it once. So you're going to want to have rain activated anyway. Same thing with Racing Rain and Refreshing Rain. I mean, these are mostly good Gauntlet abilities, helping out with Gauge, which he's mostly fine with anyway, but of course, extra Gauge definitely does not hurt, and the healing is nice there as well. Same thing with Sync Regen, applying gradual healing, giving him 2 ticks of regen. Good in the Gauntlet. You could also pick this up if you are lacking in better tiles to pick up. If you are trying to fight anything else, the little bits of healing can be very helpful, so having that can be very, very nice depending on what you're fighting. He does also have the physical boost 2 here when opponents miss, right? Yeah, when they end up missing him, he gets +2 physical moves next, which can be good for boosting his buddy move at potentially max power, or of course his Aqua Step damage naturally. Could be good for some funny cheese in Legendary Arena battles, and of course any stage where you can rely upon enemies missing. He will be obviously getting that boost, or can be getting that boost for, like, if he's the target, which Legendary Arena makes sense. Most other cases, not really. But any AoE moves as well that he may dodge, getting the +2 physical moves next can be clutch for that. So that is, I mean, it's not a bad tile. It could definitely be a lot worse considering it's a 2 out of 5 grid. And then a little bit of Gauge Refresh abilities here. NPR on the train move mostly just maxes out his attack, gives him a little bit more sync acceleration, and gives him that extra tick of sync regen if you do pick that up as a grid tile. So again, more Gauntlet stuff mostly. Other than that, X Evasion, NPR, again, more Gauntlet stuff. This not only also applies Gauge Acceleration as well, but again, maxing Evasion is good for one, not taking damage, and being able to heal up that damage with Sync Regen and Refreshing Rain, and 2, getting those physical moves next buffs. So, can be helpful there. Again, mostly relegated to Gauntlet stuff, or any stage where you can reliably dodge, and you really want to build around dodging. I think most Ultimate battles actually have, like, Piercing Gaze. At least some of them. I know Duroc does. I actually probably should verify the other ones. Anyway, whatever, you know, point being, not super big reliable thing outside of game modes where it's less about pure raw power and potential of the character and more about efficiency of your characters, that type of thing. And then Super Sinker, applying super effective next line using the sync move. I mean, any Water Weak content is going to be helpful for Annabelle. This will be especially useful for Annabelle because you can make utilization of it in conjunction with setting the rain from the Field EX roll and potentially having a maxed out buddy move. So, you know, after using the sync move, setting the rain, getting the +6 speed boost the buddy move off, it's going to be a high powered move. I mean, it's something. Sorry, that's not really specifically helpful against Annabelle, just any Water Weak stage in general that you got to build around, but of course it could be good for her if you are trying to build around her setting her sun, and you get that same move in at the appropriate time. Just makes sense. Anyway, whatever. So that's 2 out of 5. Not really a great... I mean, it's good for the Gauntlet, as it always is. 2 out of 5 tends to be built for that game mode. 2 out of 5 and like 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 mostly. I mean, 5 out of 5 in a lot of cases could be good for other modes too, but still. Point being, 2 out of 5 mostly relegated to like minor Gauntlet utility, but I mean he does get like Raging Rain and the physical boost as well, so I mean it's something for sure. But anyway, 3 out of 5, he gets the 4 sync nodes, very nice. Enfeeble 2, sure buddy, sure. Speedster Sync 5, Sync Free for All, Danger Damage Guard, Aqua Step Gauge Refresh 9, and Fear Sentry 2. Okay, so Fear Sentry 2 and Enfeeble 2, let's just ignore that these exist. These are not great tiles to pick up. The sync nodes, of course, are going to be great, right? Like, the sync nodes are good. I mean, that's... duh. Sync nodes are nice. He has also got Speedster Sync 5. Combine that with his innate Haymaker. He's got 150% multipliers combined with the sync nodes here. Pretty good power, obviously. I mean... real problem with that is that it's just 150% multipliers without any super big effect. Like the extended range is definitely nice for sure, but you don't get an AoE nuke with it. You don't get a 1.5 times tech multiplier boost for it. It's just 150% multipliers, which is mostly like what strike nukes are, except again he's only single target. So anyway, whatever. It's fine. Plus it's easy to activate, so it's not that big of a deal. He's also got Danger Damage Guard again, getting that damage guard, there we go. Getting that damage guard when dropping below half HP. This is mostly just, I don't see a big value in this. I mean, like, sure, you can get good usage out of it if you drop below half and then take like a sync move or something like that, and you don't want to bother using your healing resources or something like that. Like, you can get usage out of it. But is it really better than like a potential multiplier or something like that? Probably not, honestly. And other than that, like, he doesn't even have any multipliers for his moves. He's got Raging Rain 2, which you're going to probably pick up naturally anyway, again, just to get the Speedster sync anyway. But, I mean, this is his only DPS multiplier, so there's something there with that that's just not that great. You're not going to get this sync node, so I wouldn't even bother trying. And honestly, it doesn't even matter if you want to... Honestly, I'd probably pick up try to move NPR so you can at least max your attack by yourself and potentially get some sync acceleration. But of course, again, Danger Damage Guard's not a bad pickup either. And you could also pick up the sync move physical boost stuff here as well if you wanted to. I mean, you've got plenty of energy to work around it. So his 35 grid, I mean, at the very least, you can play around with it and get most of what you want. But there's also the consideration that it's not that fantastic of a grid either, just because he's got a little bit of nuking stuff, mostly gauntlet utility, and then like Enfeeble 2 and Fierce Entry 2, man. These are not fantastic tiles. Like, he does not really need these. I get that he can't max his attack on his own, but it's not that big of a deal to bring a support that can't do that. So why is this a 3 out of 5 tile? Whatever. At 4 out of 5, he gets hit, attack, and special attack down 9, evasion, pep rally 2. Speed buffs on evasion on the pep rally are, sorry, what? Speed buffs on the X evasion is nice, because you do get yourself the evasion buffs as well as getting the, gauge acceleration on top of that. That is nice. And again, you do get pep rally there. It's not doubled because of this only applies to Pokemon moves. So this is also like to allies, which does help again with gauge management, but really this just kind of turns this into an X speed all plus. Again, it does have a little bit more effect, right? Like, you do get the speed buffs that beefs up your buddy move damage, and you get the evasion on top of it, but really that would require you to be using evasion in the first place, which again, mostly lower tier game modes using that. Nothing really absurd, and again, lower tier game modes, he's already got other stuff to make utilization of. This just makes him like slightly better in some regard. The offensive debuffs are better for sure. Like, he's able to do single target debuffs with his regular move and AoE debuffs with his buddy move. The offensive debuffs are nice. That does help out with team sustainability and squishiness and whatever else. It's nice, legitimately. This is a good pickup for sure if you are trying to get him to this level of investment. Always going to be good. And again, good for the gauntlet as well, of course, taking less damage. Something to treasure, Fleet Feet 4 raises speed by 4 when the move is successful, so he does get plus 4 speed on the trainer move. This just gives you faster access to using the buddy move initially, getting those debuffs in, getting that high-powered attack in, whatever it may be. He can do it faster with the speed buffs. Mostly what this is relegated to. Are you going to pick this up? I mean, you could, but honestly, I don't think you really need that power super early on in the battle without any sync buffs or real build-up or anything like that. Like, there's no debuffs, there's probably, again, no sync buffs, probably no, like, moves up next buffs or anything like that. So, I don't think the power is needed super early on, so I don't really think this is too valuable. But again, if you're trying to do, like, rush damage, this could be good for that. And then 5 out of 5 again. Team, trainer move, team, physical boost, 1, whatever. Increasing physical moves next of all allies by 1 when the trainer uses a move. This does give him some better team enhancement, but for the most part, this would mean you're probably going to legitimately run him with like Sigma Suit Mina, Sigma Suit Chris, or Champion Kalen as a support, which only one of those can actually buff his attack. Off the top of my head, I don't think Mina buffs physical attack at all, but if you're running him with Chris or Mina, this means he can't buff his attack, meaning he actually does have to legitimately run Fierce Entry 2 or train with NPR in order to actually max out his attack on his own. Again, assuming you don't even get debuffed at that point. It's even worse at that case. So you do actually require that if you do plan to run him with physical characters like Dojo Gloria or Lodge Silver or Lodge Rosa or something. Like any like physical attacker you want to really run him with, assuming they're like water type, they're going to be getting enhanced under his rain or whatever. Again, mostly Dojo Gloria is the best example here. You're going to be probably running them with a like rain support or like at least a rain rebuff character, or water rebuff character, which I don't think there's a support for that, not off the top of my head. So that's fun. Anyway, whatever. I mean, he's got a lot of decent utility, like, again, Gauntlet built, but he also kind of lacks I mean, it's not that he lacks sustainability, because he does have like evasion buffs and whatnot. He does have healing. He does have offensive debuffs or whatever else. But he doesn't really have like piercing blows, like a gimmick check ability. I mean, he's got defensive debuffs, which can cover some regards, but he's only got one instance of rain to cover Terrakion. He can't cover like Moltres at all. He can't cover Tornadus. Yeah, he can't cover Tornadus, right? Like, there's... And plus, he's weak to flying, so even more death there. Like, it feels like he's built for like a gimmick check, which is most helpful in a legendary in a setting, but... And he's going to be probably good for duos, but like for just a character that you probably want to pull in the legitimate, like the modern age, you probably want a good gimmick check character to be a good solo character. But I don't think he's going to be... I mean, he's going to get some, obviously, but I don't think he's going to get nearly as many for like what they kind of tried to build him around. And outside of Legendary Gauntlet, he doesn't really have the multipliers to back up the damage of his Aqua Step or Liquidation Dance, and his Sync move is fine in multipliers, but nothing crazy. And again, only one instance of Rain, meaning you're going to want to run him with a Rain supportive character anyway, which are either mostly special attackers like Dahlia. Again, well, okay, Dahlia's a horrid example, or like, Archie. Variety Lyra as well. Just any Mixed Leaf, any Rain setter like these characters are more special orient. Okay, they are straight up special characters that you would probably want to run with other special damage dealers as well, because they mostly get enhanced. Mixed Leaf and Dahlia and Lyra all with their debuffs, right? They enhance special characters. Or against supports like Signasuit Chris, who is special oriented, or Signasuit Mina, who is more defensive oriented and can't even really help Clavell activate his multipliers. So what Clavell really wants is another strong physical water character and another strong physical water type support type character to give him enhancement, which even then, in that same instance, he would probably end up being replaced by Dojo Gloria in that same regard, which does kind of suck, but whatever. I mean, he's still not a bad character. He's still fine. It's just I don't really see a big value in pulling for him, just again in terms of value alone. If you like Quaquaval, if you like Clavell, you're going to be getting some usage out of them for sure. They're going to be doing solid damage, working relatively well with a lot of characters. It's just that in terms of pure efficiency, there's definitely better options, and that's just kind of how it is. So that's my thoughts about Clavell and Quaquaval. Yes, the duck got shafted. I am happy. I'm kidding. I just don't like Quaquaval that much. Whatever. Anyway, I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know anything about Clavell and Quaquaval. And yeah, I'll see you all later.